All right, so today we're gonna learn about pine cone seeds. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so what we're gonna need today is we're gonna need 3 pine cones, and we want these to be kind of similar sizes as much as we can. We need a jar that can fit one of our pine cones. We need some water, some aluminum foil, some paper towel, a baking sheet, some ice, measuring tape, a black permanent marker, and then a pen and some paper. Are you ready?
Yes.
Alrighty. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna preheat the oven to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. And once that's done, the next thing that we wanna do is we want to label our pine cones. So we're gonna label them A, B, and C. You could also do 1, 2, 3, but we're gonna do A, B, C. So I'm gonna take my black permanent marker and I'm gonna label each of my pine cones. There's A. There's B. And there's C. Alrighty, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to measure our pine cones. So we want to measure the length, which is how long it is, and then we want to measure the circumference, which is how big around is it. So we're gonna measure each of those, and then we want to write it down on a piece of paper for A, B, and C, so we know what the length was and what the circumference was. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
okay, so why don't we measure the length first? So we want the pine cone to be at the 0 mark, and then we want to measure how long it is. That looks like 10 to me. Does that look like 10 to you?
Yes.
Okay, and this was pine cone A. So I'm going to put A, length is 10 centimeters.
Yes.
Okay, so now we need to do B. So that is this one, the length. So you put it at 0. And that's looking like 10.
Yes.
So 11, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So B's length is 11 centimeters. And then we have C. Alrighty. That also looks like 11, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so C is also 11 centimeters. And then we need the circumference, which is how big around is it? So we're gonna have to hold the tape measure for this one. Let's find A. This part can be a little bit tricky because of our pine cones that we have. So, can you lift it up, please? We're gonna pick a spot, the biggest spot we can find, and we're going to try to measure how big around is it. Alrighty, it looks like, if we bring it down now, I marked it with my finger, that looks like 11. 11 centimeters around. Okay, and now we need to do B, so can you hold that again for me? Thank you. 10 centimeters. And then we need to do C. So that's this one. Yes, can you hold it for me again? Thank you. Alrighty, let's see here. I'm gonna find the biggest
Otherwise, if you have real stuff, you can just make one finger have it.
That one looks like 10 and a half.
Okay.
Alrighty, so now that everything is measured, the next thing that we're going to do is we're gonna put aluminum foil on our baking sheet. So you're gonna help me rip this. Let me get it long enough first. And then you go like this, push down on it. You push down up here, where my hand is. Yep. There we go. We're gonna put that on our baking sheet. Okay, and we're gonna find our pine cone A. That is C. B, and this is A. So we want to take pine cone A and we want to put it on top of our tin foil. And we are gonna stick pine cone A in the oven once our oven is at 250 degrees. And that's gonna be there for 45 minutes. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is for pine cone C, we're gonna put it in the jar. Sorry, pine cone B, we're gonna put in the jar. So take pine cone B, we're gonna stick it in the jar and we're gonna gently pour in the water. All right, pause for a second. We want to add a little bit of ice in here. Okay, and we can fill it up a little bit more if you want. Just don't want to overflow it. That's good. That's good. Awesome. So for pine cone B, we're going to let it sit in the cold jar for the whole time that pine cone A is in the oven. Okay, and then pine cone C, we are gonna leave it on the counter and wait to see what happens after 45 minutes. So after 45 minutes, once our pine cone A is done baking, we're gonna take it out of the oven and we're gonna remeasure everything and see what happened to our pine cones, okay? Okay, so now that all of our pine cones have been in their conditions for 45 minutes, we're going to remeasure all of them. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take pine cone A out of the oven. And we're gonna let it cool off for a little bit.
Yeah, right now.
Yep. And then we're gonna take pine cone B, which was in the ice water, and we're going to take it out and dry it a little bit with a paper towel. So can you take it out of there and put it on the paper towel?
Yeah.
Okay, put it on the paper towel. Yep. And dry it off a little bit. Okay, so we have pine cone A, all good, pine cone B, and pine cone C. So now we want to remeasure the length and the circumference. We're gonna write it down in our notebook. Okay, so let's do the length of each first. So again, thank you for holding it. We start here, we're gonna measure.
No, I can do that.
Okay, yep, we'll hold it at 0. Okay, so that one's at 10. So it's the same as before. Now let's do B, which is in the ice water. Okay.
There's a more 0.
Yep.
There's 0 or 1.
Okay, and then we'll do C. Alrighty. 11 again. Okay, and now we want to do the circumference. So this is where I need to hold this part again. Okay, so we'll do A. Alrighty, so that's 13. This part. Nope, we already did the length. We want to do it all the way around the circumference. Yep. Okay, and then we'll wrap this part around till they meet. Ooh, we have to turn it the other way. There we go. That's at like 7. And then C. Thank you. 10 and a half. Alrighty. So what you're gonna notice, is that pine cone A got bigger in its circumference. So none of the lengths changed, but the circumference, so how wide around it is, got bigger. And pine cone B got smaller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pine cone C didn't have any change.
It's just
The same. So the reason that this happened is that pine cone A, like when it's warm outside, what the pine tree will do is it wants its seeds to grow. So it'll open up its seeds so that when the pine cone falls off the tree and goes into the soil, it can grow into a new tree, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty, but then pine cone B, when it got cold outside, it wants to protect its seeds from the cold because the cold can injure or kill the seeds. So it closes to protect those seeds. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then pinecone seed didn't do anything because the temperature didn't change at all. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was out.
Yeah. So the reason God designed pine trees this way is because some of them grow in colder places, right? Or they grow places where it gets cold at nighttime. So at nighttime they want to close their seeds so that way they can protect them from the cold. But then when it's warm during the day, they want to open their seeds so that when it falls off the tree and into the ground, it can go into good soil and grow a new pine tree.
Yes.
Is that cool?
Yes. Or an apple tree.
Well, these are pine trees, so they don't grow apples, but they might work the same way, kind of with apples.
Yeah, maybe they'll grow some, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
We'll see. High five.